11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
All right, welcome everybody. If this is working, give me some feedback. What an odd night. Just as I started up the show, all kinds of weird stuff started happening here, starting with the none of the microphones worked, and then after a restart, I don't know what's going on. Noises. Maybe we got some wind outside, but all kinds of weird noises are happening. So anyhow, let's get the show started here. On Fridays, we go live at midnight Eastern, and we take a look at the week in what the Second Amendment protects. So we talk about a little bit of gun stuff and some things adjacent to the Second Amendment. But our goal here with our projects really at this point is to attempt to end the confusion, the debate, the ignorance, the lack of awareness, normalize guns, and to move on so that in the future people can just enjoy guns and enjoy each other without this division, this unnecessary division that's created by just relatively few people and a lot of ignorance. All right, with that being said, we're taking a look at what the Second Amendment protects each week, and I do that on the YouTube, a couple other places, and we consolidate that all to a show on Friday nights. This show is live, so you're encouraged to participate. This show is no longer on Twitter, no longer on the X, because they require a paid account in order to go over there. So how weird and lame is that? Stupid and greedy. So no longer on the X, but we're live on the YouTube, so feel free to participate. People on X never really said anything anyway. They were kind of creepily watching. But we'll see. I don't know if it's worth it. I'll ask the Patreons if they think it's worth paying for the X. It's not super expensive, but on the other hand, I don't like to be extorted. I'd rather pay because I want a service, not because they require that I pay to do something. And like I say, the people on X, all they do is watch. I like participation. That's why I value. So let's see what the Patreons value. Let's see. Let's dig into it then. So tonight we're going to be taking a look at this stuff. We do it live. You're encouraged to participate. We'll take the recording of this and post it up on our podcasts, and I guess the fastest way to get to there would be somewhere it's somewhere in here. Let's see, there it is. So if you want to check out one of our podcasts, we post to a thing called Podbean. Yeah, and that costs money, but you post your stuff there, and then they distribute it out to all the different places. So iTunes and iHeartRadio and Spotify and all the others. So we used to do this all individually, and it took a little more effort. It all kind of happens automatically, but you have to kind of monitor each of them. But the big reason to go to Podbean was that we get the analytics from them all in one place. So we really appreciate that, and that means we appreciate the people that are listening on all those platforms. So that's why this goes out as a podcast. And then we take the stuff that we're reading here, the description of this video, the stuff that's over here on Substack, what we're seeing on the screen, And we post it on our Patreon blog. We post it on Substack. And we usually post as much of it as we can into the podcast. So that means it's going out on those podcast platforms and then on the other socials that we are part of. We don't get a lot of participation on them because they're smaller, but we're on Minds and Locals and Getter and MeWe. And every once in a while we get some feedback over there. So we do appreciate the people that are on the alternative social platforms. So the overall goal here is to, one, keep an updated idea of what's going on so that you don't have to try to keep track of all this stuff on your own. So that we're hopefully doing this together. But then also so that it gets distributed. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, but we're going to be talking about the efforts of a lot of people who are focused on, again, normalizing guns for the most part, trying to end the confusion, and then hopefully some interesting things. So all these things are worthy of sharing, and our goal here is then to share it on all these different platforms, the actual links themselves. So kind of a multi-purpose event or show or project that we do here, and it's all powered by our Patreons down at the bottom of the screen, or wherever it is you're watching this. There's probably some mention of our Patreon platform, the Patreon channel over there, and that's the folks who are capitalists who want to help participate in what we're doing here financially. And most of them are buying us a cup of coffee. Some people are buying us lunch each month. That accumulates. It pays for the 3 servers that we run to keep all the websites up, and then some of the software. Not so much the time, but I also say, the time that it takes to put into this stuff. I'm going to do that anyway, but how consistently I do it and how much time I do it is also a factor of the Patreons. So thanks for that. It allows me to take the time to do this stuff, where honestly I was not able to do that all the time. So I do not take that lightly, and I bring it up for a reason. Unlike some people who just take for granted the financial support of fans. I don't have fans. I want participants in our projects. Historically, we've created things from books to fundraising efforts for nonprofits to other projects like that. And our goal is to create things together and to encourage participation. So we really do value the people that financially support those efforts now and in the past, because we have a lot of people that have dropped off for whatever reasons. Either we're not doing what they want us to do anymore, or they're not financially able to support. They don't usually tell you when they leave what the reason is for leaving. All right, so we're going to thank some people on our Patreons. We have this newsletter that I almost never use, but if you want to sign up for it, feel free. Whenever we have more time to devote to this, the newsletter will get more time again. Substack is what we're looking at right now. You can subscribe to this Substack, which is free, and then there is a paid subscriber to Substack. So thanks for that person. Anybody else who wants to subscribe over here? Let's see. Then we have the Instagrams, which I'm thinking about not using so much. And then we've got the podcast itself, which I just mentioned. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to be talking about the news. Most of that comes from the NSSF's email that comes out every Friday. Then we're going to talk about the Second Amendment stuff that happened. Then we'll talk about the gun stuff that happened, 2 separate things. Then we'll talk about some of the radio shows that we listen to and the military interviews that we watch, or that I watch. And then I didn't do much this week. It's been a crappy week. I don't know if I caught a cold. Maybe I got the short COVID. I got the long COVID. I must have some kind of COVID because I'm sick. But I got some kind of snot nose. Been all week snot nose and then coughing. It's been shitty. In the middle of the year, so it's stupid to get a cold in the middle of the summer. All right. So let's dig in. Woods is saying got several of those books. Thank you for that. Says I'm kind of over the gram. I just don't know if it's worth the time. I appreciate it for the picture part of it, but it is definitely not what it was. I should know I guess the Twitter, but they want me to pay $7 a month for the Twitter. And I just, like I say, I don't like being coerced into it. Saying allergies. I've had other people suggest allergies. However, I don't like being allergic to stuff, so I don't think it's allergies. All right, so we're going into 2A news of the week. let's see, this again, most of this comes from the NSSF newsletter, and I do a lot of filtering here. So this is most of the work, is just filtering out that newsletter. It's got good kernels of information in it, but very, very much extra stuff, as you might have seen in other shows when I just show the newsletter. Anyhow, we had Worth versus Jacobson. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit Court ruled that Minnesota's law banning adults under 21 from carrying concealed firearms is unconstitutional. This is a Court of Appeals decision, which is important because we don't have to wait for the Supreme Court. Or I don't remember if that's one of the ones that got bounced back, so that the Supreme Court told them to go rule. And either way, that's great, because that should start setting precedent for some of the other states that are suggesting that people 18 to 21 don't have their rights. Then we got legislation proposed by Massachusetts House and Senate. They use that word. That would denigrate the Second Amendment to a state-granted privilege and do nothing to hold criminals accountable for the criminal misuse of firearms. I kind of created that summary from a bunch of paragraphs. But Massachusetts is getting wailed on right now. And we're going to either people are sitting there and watching it happen, people are sitting there and having it happen to them, or then most people don't give a shit because they just don't know about it. And it doesn't have to be that way. I heard a lot of people a lot of people promoting the event that's coming up from one of the national level organizations that brings in tens of millions of dollars each year. So, get everybody together and shake hands and get your selfies and your autographs. Yeah, okay. Well, how about we create some sister states? How about we create some how about we normalize the resistance to these freaking things that are happening in Massachusetts, that happened in Washington State, that almost happened in Oregon, that almost happened in Nevada, that almost happened in Colorado, that did happen in Colorado, that almost happened in Minnesota, that has happened in Illinois. I could go on a lot, because Connecticut, New Hampshire, I could go on. Maine just got wailed on. So blips on a radar are good for ratings, and blips on headlines and whatever are probably good for, look how much work we're doing. We don't need to be told. We got people like me who are doing this for nothing that can tell us about what's going on. How about we orchestrate some resistance to this shit already? So people in Massachusetts being alone and having to just sit there and wait to hear what's happening is ridiculous. The amount of pressure that 49 other states could put on Massachusetts for acting like this in direct defiance to the Constitution makes me sick. But here we go. The NSSF essentially just reporting the news, right? Like, okay, great. It's not their job to coordinate anything, but what the hell? Are we allowed to ask for more than this? Are we allowed to expect more than just observation of the bullshit? We can end it. We should be able to end it. Next one is U.S. Senate Appropriations Committee unanimously approved the first three of 12 appropriations bills for 2025. That's a massive summary of a whole big giant piece that they had in their email. Essentially, NSSF pays a lot more attention to these budgets and shit than I am ever going to do. But essentially, they've got 12 things that they need to deal with this year. And I forget, I didn't write in here because I don't agree with NSSF on all these things, but NSSF is interested in a number of them. And that's because the laws, the appropriations things are kind of random. I don't know if they're random, but they're strategically diverse. They don't put all the gun stuff in one. They sprinkle it out amongst a bunch of them. So they have to keep track of so many things in order so that nothing slips by or nothing gets included with something else, that it shouldn't be. So anyway, they're mentioning a bunch of these. And again, are we not able? Are we feeble? We can't keep track of our government's appropriations, its spending. We're distracted by every little fucking thing. And it's almost like clockwork. Whenever the little things aren't distracting us enough, a larger news cycle comes around. And gosh forbid, you suggest that you don't pay attention to the giant news cycle because we're supposed to listen to the giant news cycles. So, are we allowed to pay attention to the mundane, or at least shouldn't the mundane have a bigger portion of our attention so that we can, those of us who do have the time or interest, can pay attention to it? Right now, you have to literally know that it exists and then be able to find it. If you don't even know it exists, how would you even know to look for it? I'll move on. New Hampshire governor signs Firearms Purchasers Privacy Act. NSSF is super worried about this. I am not, but I guess it's better to have things working on our side than not. I just think there's other things that I'd rather see us working together on than worrying about our credit card bills from some almost non-issue. But there's now 17 states with laws that protect financial privacy. I guess that's fine, but again, I'd rather have 17 states that have sister states so that now they can't get bad laws passed, and they have massive campaigns for awareness to calm the jets of all the people who think that 50 rounds of ammo is an issue. Is 50 rounds of ammo an issue? Is that a joke, or is that a plea? Is that a obvious indication of awareness? Like, how easy would it be to create a campaign that says, how many ammos do you think is too many ammos? Like 10, 100, 1,000? Well, guess what? Little old guy who shoots cowboy guns shoots 1,000 ammos, so they're not really that big a deal. 70,000 ammos is what an Olympic shooter might shoot. So, like, how many ammos do you think your police shoots? Like, look at the awareness we could create instead of just sitting around laughing. What have we gained over the fucking decades of just laughing at idiots? Or are they really idiots? Or are they just know that by saying dumb shit that we'll just sit here spinning ourselves off, laughing about whatever dumb thing they said and essentially not doing something? Anyway, that's why the show isn't popular. I mostly scold us for not paying attention. Anyway, U.S. Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey was found guilty on all counts of bribery and acting as a foreign agent for Egypt. He got gold bars and Mercedes or something for moving arms to Egypt. And at the same time, he's one of the largest anti-gun people in the country. So, again, do we sit and laugh? Or do we put him up and make it a shoulder thing that goes up situation so that every time one of these antis sits around, they know that they better be fucking golden because we're going to find out they're bullshit. They're usually antis because they're probably trying to deflect from something else they're doing. Have anybody thought about digging into all the antis and seeing why they're antis? I'll keep moving. My Graham AI it just shows. Oh, algorithm. I got you. Let's see. The next one is Federal District Court denies preliminary injunction over Vermont's magazine ban waiting period law. So the Second Amendment, they concluded that the Second Amendment does not protect standard capacity magazines because they're not in common use for self-defense. So this one was another federal district court, and I probably have these in bad order here. Federal district court denied an injunction, a preliminary injunction. So essentially, I think this way this went down is Vermont said, hey, let's be assholes and create a magazine ban and a waiting period. And then people who are like, what the fuck, said, no, let's have a preliminary injunction so that this stupid law that shouldn't exist never has to actually be implemented because we're going to create this injunction first. And that's when the federal district court said, nah, now go ahead and let them have their magazine ban and waiting period until you deem it unconstitutional in 5 minutes, because it is unconstitutional everywhere else. And they suggested that the reason for that dumbass decision was that standard capacity magazines are, well, in other words, magazines that they think are high capacity aren't in common use for self-defense. So I don't know where they stick their head in the sand to get that data, but again, do we just get upset about this? Do people even pay attention to this? We've got a news cycle we're supposed to be paying attention to, and that's all we're supposed to talk about. And then this kind of dumb shit happens. Let's see. Third Circuit denies Delaware magazine ban preliminary injunction. So essentially the same thing, except go from Fifth Court to Third Court, and then Vermont to Delaware. And, magazine ban is the same, and preliminary injunction being denied is the same. So it's a blow, it's a kick in the nuts for those states for one nut, not like both nuts. but it's still annoying. U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs tells Congress that they will not comply with the law to protect Second Amendment rights of veterans should the measure be passed by Congress and signed into law. I don't know how many people really watch this. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch the back and forth. And essentially, it's bullshit, but it's being summarized as, I think it's not being summarized well. But essentially, this congressman was asking this representative from Veteran Affairs, are you going to comply? And he's like, oh, I've been told not to comply. He's like, well, are you going to comply? He's like, oh, I've been told not to comply. All right, well, so technically it's accurate, but it's just a wimpy little back and forth. And the guy wasn't like, fuck you, Congress, I'm not going to comply. He was just being a weasel, and it wasn't that big a thing. So it'd be better to have his boss there. Be like, where do you get off telling this other person not to comply? And, have that person accountable. Because right now it's just some guy pointing at somebody else, and it's not all that interesting. Let's see. Then we have the last one. Senator Warren from Massachusetts sent a letter to the Department of Defense demanding that they end the commercial utilization of the Lake City ammunition plant that sells surplus ammunition to the commercial market. And I like to put that one in there because, one, she's an idiot, and two, Massachusetts needs help getting rid of their idiots. And this person is exploiting this. She's making money on this. So we think, oh, look at that. If we're even paying attention, we think, oh, what a dummy. And then we move on. And she's just over there telling her people, her supporters, look at what I'm doing. I'm taking a sword up to the dragon, and I'm so good. And I think with little effort, we could show how dumbass she is, like how foolish she is, like what a dumbass she is to her own supporters instead of to ourselves. What would that strategy be like? Would we get rid of these people? Would we make it so that it's less appealing for the idiots? Like literally, she's just dumb. The whole situation exists because they take that ammo, the X ammo, the ammo that doesn't pass quality control to go to the military. They take that and they sell it for more money than it takes to make it. And then that pays for a good chunk of the military ammo. So if she got her way, the government wouldn't be able to even buy as much ammo as she thinks they need. So one, she's an a-hole because she's greedy and she wants all this ammo for the war effort. Which, what the fuck, Senator Warren? What are you worried about the war effort for? And then two, she doesn't know how this thing even works. All right, well, we'll keep moving. Phantom is out there. Guns and Water is out there. Let's see. I have been decoding that post and finally figured out. Which one are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about this one? That took me a minute, too. I thought he was talking about Al Gore, but he was talking about Al Gore. I mean, I thought he was talking about AI. And then I figured out the Al Gore part. All right, well, I'm going to take a minute here to get something to drink, and we're going to throw a quick commercial out there. Thanks to Foss for whipping these out. It's a quick one. It's a good one just for a drink. She Fires does a chat every Sunday in the afternoon. You can be part of. It's an interactive chat like this one, and she's talking to gun owners about carry and personal defense and awareness and life as a gun owner. Lots of cool topics for Sunday evenings. The pug is not even in here. Where is he? Hold on, he must be somewhere. He's hanging out, like he can see me, but he can also see Mello, and Mello's outside, so he's not really close to me. But he doesn't come around here when it's this hot. Plus, I think if I turn the camera on, how do I do this? His area is full of crap right now, so there's no way he could even hang out here. All right, so Suicide Prevention Saturday is something that happens every Saturday afternoon, and Burke Genie hosts that. It's a consistent conversation about normalizing conversations about mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I think it's one of the most useful efforts that happens all week. Every 2 out of every 3 deaths with a firearm is a suicide. Most of those are military, police, EMS, people that have to deal with some of the craziest stuff, people that are dealing with post-traumatic stress often. And we all know that lots of things can create that. And also blunt force trauma can create brain damage that we're now understanding much better. And anything from sports to occupations to hobbies can give people concussions that build up and cause issues that are treatable often. And definitely once they're made aware, can be dealt with. And when that is all, again, not normalized and all of that is swept under the rug or assumed that it's people's own business to deal with, we end up creating more of a problem, or at least not helping the problem at all. So what Brooke does is attempt to help normalize the conversations about these topics with an interesting show each Saturday. She doesn't have like a crazy syllabus that she's going through. She's not preaching. She's just going at it in different ways, approaching this topic so that 1, we can reduce the number for sure, but 2, so we can have better conversations with ourselves, with gun owners, and with the non-gun owners, people that have all kinds of crazy ideas about what gun ownership is. And we win. We win on every front. We have less deaths. We have more people understanding there's options, and we take away ammunition from the antis, as well as the concept that gun owners aren't doing anything. Of course, we have been and we do things, but what Brooke does is give us creates the awareness and the words that we can use to describe what we've always done and what we have and what we continue to do. Excellent effort. If you can watch on Saturdays, be part of the show. Be an actual participant in it. And if you can't, then share it. If you're going to share anything each week, this is the thing to share. The word suicide by the logarithms that we were talking about is misunderstood. And her show is essentially going upstream, because of the suicide tags. So anything you can do to help her show out is definitely some of the best things you can do each week. Along those lines, Walk Talk America does very similar efforts, less consistently, with different motivation and passion, I suppose, and definitely different resources. They bring in tens of thousands of dollars worth of support at the national level from the industry, and their focus is on guns and mental health, the intersection of physicians and gun ownership. And this is a quick video that they posted on why suicide prevention isn't sexy. This was a live show this morning, about 35 minutes this morning, worth listening to. Essentially, Mike has got a couple of points on why it's been difficult to be part, to create Walk Talk America and then have it be part of the industry. It's interesting. All right, moving on. We have the Virginia Citizens Defense League does their monthly meetings live on the net, so you can be part of them and watch them and participate in them. Those are Sunday evenings. Let's see. Then we had Brian with Charlie, who's in Massachusetts, bringing on Gun Owners Action League, which is the Massachusetts gun owners' rights organization. He had a couple of people on from the GOAL to chat about the new legislation when it was essentially not even yet hot off the presses. Mike had an advanced copy of it, and I forget how many hundreds of pages it was. They were going through for about an hour through the first iteration of investigating the new stuff that's happening in Massachusetts. This was an interesting one from the armed attorneys talking about red flag in California for someone in Texas. So someone in California said a family member in Texas did XYZ. The police in Texas went in and grabbed the person's firearms, I guess, in Texas. because of so many in California. And that's an interesting concept. Then we get to Forge of Freedom, Alex out of Indiana. And this is talking about the Anti-Federalist Papers. And I'm trying to remember, did I listen to this one? I might not have listened to this one yet. So Forge of Freedom, though, is always a good one to listen to. One of my favorites each week. Very down-to-earth legal insight. Armed attorneys are quicker, and they have 2 points of view, but they're pretty much just talking about the headlines. And they're usually like 10-minute episodes where Alex will talk about the headlines, but he does 2 shows a week, and they're 20 minutes to an hour. So he definitely goes into more depth, and he's not seeking fame or fortune. He's seeking, or he's trying to contribute to the awareness and understanding of the issues. So I find these to be the most use out of any of the lawyer stuff that I watch. Getting back to Massachusetts, they're calling it H4139, and this is another person from Goal. I think it's about a 15-minute video, if I remember right. No, it's a 5-minute video of going over an update to that conference committee, give you like another summary of what's happening in Massachusetts. Going back, and I didn't do these in a very good order this week. I could have put these together better. But going back to Alex and Forge of Freedom, he had an interview with Adam Richardson. John Richardson. I'm seeing Adam. John Richardson. Lawyers, Guns and Money or something blog. I got to listen to this. This one is, they talk about a lot of nerd stuff in this one. I tried listening to it twice, and I got to still listen to it. It's going to be interesting, but I was too distracted when I was listening before. It's definitely going to be a nerd talk. All right, now we're getting into the gun talk. I separate gun talk and Second Amendment talk, and now we'll get into the gun stuff. So Maj had Nick Irving on. That would have been a good one. I haven't listened to that one yet because I don't really care about listening to the hype of a news cycle while it's happening. But I would like to hear Nick Irving's perspective on it, even though this was like right after it happened. Let's see. Then we've got Tony's show, or I guess the Gun and Gear review show that Tony's on. Was on Tuesday. I don't think I listened to this one. I think I was sleeping during this one. Yeah, I don't remember listening to this one. Then we had Foss, who does the Wednesday shows and the every other Saturday shows, taking somebody else to the range. He's doing the series, taking people to the range. Number 15. Bunch of handguns in this one. They partied on Wednesday like it was episode 99. So last to 100 episode was on Wednesday. And then he also hosts every other weekend an overnight, which means this weekend there will be no overnight. But Foss is a host up in Washington State who opens the show up to, usually there's a topic on the overnight show, and on the Wednesday show there's no topic. It's just a way to have a conversation. And they're unique because he hosts his show late night, overnight, 3 a.m. East Coast time, 11 a.m., no, 2 a.m. East Coast, so 11 a.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Pacific. I like listening. Well, this show is overnight, right? So I'm definitely a fan of the people that are awake in the middle of the night, even though I'm falling asleep right now. Gizzard is over there doing knife reviews. He's been doing a bunch of them for Kaiser. This might be my favorite one. I like the clear grip angles. I'll definitely like axis locks. I think that's an axis lock. And I think that whatever that is, it's like a clear, what do they call that? I forget what they call that material now. But Ultim or whatever, like if that's that new polymer, then I like it, and I like that blade. So I like the, well, not the biggest fan of the lanyard hole, but it is an interesting lanyard hole. So anyway, I think that's a pretty nice knife too. You know what? I'm going to take another break and drink something because I keep yawning. So why don't we go over here and grab yet another commercial for...
This is Earl Benson reporting from downtown Topeka, where Gizzard Gary is rampaging through the city. Authorities have asked the public to stay indoors. They believe he will tire soon and need a nap. Gizzard Gary can normally be seen on Foul Territory Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central. Wednesday, 8 p.m. for the channel members chat. Stay safe and give him the bird. Earl Benson signing off.
You can listen to Gizzard right before this show. All you have to do is rewind. Let's see. So then we get Toby doing a bag of the week. So they used to do mystery bags when they first started doing the podcast. And now they've been doing, I think they've done like 2 or 3 mystery bags since I've been doing this, since I've been listening to them. Essentially, though, it's just a bag of stuff that one of the people in the store puts together, like their favorite stuff, and then they give it a good price, and then you buy it without knowing what's in the bag. Fun way to grab stuff, I guess. This is a pretty neat story about from Pets for Vets about this guy and this dog, and I just thought it was really well done. It's like 3 minutes long, and it's just a neatly edited, or not unique, but it's an interesting edit job of showing the story of that dog and that guy getting together and how they're helping each other out. Friend Steven up in Wyoming posted about a trout fishing trip with him and his daughter. Check that out. Let's see, then we get back to the radio shows that happened this week. I was wondering why nobody is saying anything. I'm flipped over to the wrong screen. But it doesn't look like anybody's saying anything anyway. Let's see, we got the radio shows this week. Toby does a show on Sunday, then he does a show on Tuesday, and then another show on Wednesday. I was able to listen to a couple of them this week. Of course, the topic of conversation is the closed-door committee that's deciding Massachusetts laws. And the first couple of shows were still while it was impending or whatever, and then it all happened, and I think he did a special episode even to start going, or a couple of special episodes to start describing everything. I don't know if I listened to San Diego gun owners this week or not, but I guess I forgot to put them in here. But the other radio show I would listen to on the regular would be the San Diego gun owners, does gun owners radio. Yeah, right. On Sunday afternoons, essentially right on top of She Fires. And I don't know if I listened to it this week. Trying to remember what I was doing on Sunday. We could head over to gun calendars real quick since we're doing okay with time tonight. And thanks again to our Patreons. We do a bunch of stuff. Some of it is web-based. That's why we're on websites. Why is this taking so long to load? Is this my internet's bad, or is that the server's doing something? Does anybody want to go grab a link over here and see if it's taking a long time for you to load? Is this just my computer? Because I have bad internet once in a while. But this isn't that big a page, so it shouldn't be that long to load. Hold on, I gotta have a coughing attack. Blah. All right. So today is Glock's birthday. Well, today is Glock's birthday and Colt's birthday. Okay, interesting as they were both born on the same day. Different years, of course, almost 100 years apart. But 2 gun inventors born on the same day, July 19th. Then we have Masad Ayub. His birthday is tomorrow, the 20th. Let's see, we have the Ninth Circuit Court ruled that restricting open carry is unconstitutional. They did that back in 2018 on July 24th. And that's the Ninth Circuit Court. They're usually not that, it was a unique decision a fairly unique decision for them. Next weekend, this weekend is not, but next weekend, the 25th through the 27th will be through the 28th will be the NAGA National Convention. It's in Dallas again. This will be their, I'm trying to remember if it's their second or third. I think it's the second. And a lot of people are going to it this year, so hopefully we'll see some good coverage. Hopefully some coverage of the event too. It's not really trying to be like a little SHOT Show, like some of the other events are claiming to be like Little SHOT Show or SHOT Show of the East or something like that. They're trying to be, NAGA itself is a national level organization made up of local organizations. So from what I understand, and the reason I really wanted to attend it, is I understand that it's a national convention or a summit of all those different organizations, right? All the different state level or community level. Like they might be a county, or they might be a gun range or a gun club or a range or something, or they might be the whole state. Like there's a NAGA Massachusetts club that's the whole state. So anyway, their summit's going to be a bit different. Now I suppose there's probably going to be vendors displaying their stuff. Holy moly, I'm dying of coughing over here. I haven't really talked this long, so maybe it's just my lungs are crapping out. Loaded fast for you. Thanks, appreciate it. I think it's my internet. There's a page doesn't have much. There's nothing on the page. Nothing that takes a lot of effort. Man. Oh, I had no idea. Is this already Rick Ector's Legally Armed in Detroit? Yeah, this is the 13th annual event for Rick Ector. So last year it was 1,500 ladies, I think. Rick will usually bring instructors in from all over the country. They'll go to a couple of different ranges in Detroit, and then they'll offer free instruction, like an orientation and then a familiarization and then an opportunity to shoot at a target for each lady. So kind of individual too. So it's not like 12 ladies holding a gun for the first time. It's one lady, one instructor. The briefings and stuff are probably as a group. But then as they get out to the range, it's a one-on-one and very comfortable. Lots of smiles, lots of appreciation. We talk about normalizing guns. There could be very difficult to have a better way to normalize guns than inviting 1,500 ladies to shoot guns at their interest, and their comfort level in a weekend. It's awesome. Again, I didn't realize it was coming up. It snuck up on me. I'm glad we looked at the calendar. But how much attention is that getting this year? Let's see. We have on the 29th of January, 29th of July, whatever, the Arizona constitutional carry went into effect. So in 2009, because of the efforts of the Arizona Citizens Defense League at the time, Arizona voted in constitutional carry. In July 29th of 2010, it went into effect. I can tell you what it was like. I remember when it went into effect because it was such a big deal. And it was 2010. What were you doing in 2010? I can remember that in 2010, YouTube has just kind of switched from the kicked in the balls and the kitten videos. And it had started to become a place where people went to post stuff. Like in 2009, we were posting stuff on YouTube because it was expensive to post stuff on the web, and forums and stuff didn't necessarily let you post a video, but you could link to a video. Could you embed? You could, depending on the forum, you might even be able to embed a video, but you had to put that video somewhere. You had to be somewhere, and it was expensive to do that. So YouTube for 2009 and before was essentially that. And then in 2010, YouTube just kind of either intentionally or it developed that community started happening. People commenting started to come back and comment to each other, and there started to be a community on YouTube. So I can remember talking about the constitutional carry as it was happening, but in a much different way because the community was much more sparse. It was just some names and just conversations that were happening in the text comments and stuff. It's kind of like there's a hair in my throat and I can't cough it out, but it's driving me nuts. Let's see. I'm going to keep going because this show won't get posted as a podcast probably until next month because I think we're 2 weeks behind posting. But the 1st of August is an anniversary of the Battle of Athens, and I wonder how big a deal that'll be this year. Some years it's a big deal, some years it's not. In 2012, me and Haas were driving around, and we went to Athens to check it out, and no one there wanted to talk about it. There was a plaque up, but we couldn't get anybody in town to tell us about it. We stopped at like 2 or 3 places and kind of asked around, and nobody would talk about it. We went to one of the places that it happened or something, and nobody knew anything about it. So since then, I have seen some people talk about it and with people from Athens. But essentially, that was an armed interaction in Tennessee when a bunch of people were trying to steal an election back in 1946. And a bunch of people who had just got back from war said, nah, let's not let this happen. Not here. Let's see. Then we've got Air Force Day is coming up. It's not their birthday. Air Force needs 2 separate days. So they have their birthday and then they have Air Force Day. So they're going to celebrate Air Force Day, I believe. Let's see. Then we got the Browning BAR was patented back in 1917. All 3 of those things happened on the same day. And then I have the anniversary in here of the passing of Wild Bill Hickok. We'll see how many people post about that next month. And if you want to check out any of these interesting things, go check out guncalendars.com. As you see, there's no ads. There's no, you don't have to add an email address or nothing. The only thing that really is saying thank you to our Patreons down here. And then some links to people like there's Dead Horse and there's Gunstreamer, 2 things that you may not even know what they are. But, we have links to stuff like that. But that's about it. No ads, and there's no $10 to join. Oh, we don't get $10 if you join this or anything like that. This is just Patreons. Make it possible for us to spend, or make it possible for me to have spent time in the past, because I don't do anything on gun calendars anymore right now. But in the past, every one of these things was updated, uploaded. The calendar actually cost us a couple of bucks, but very little. And then, of course, the server and whatever time there is to set this thing up and maintain it. But really the big effort there was all of these other pages where you see all the other stuff that we talk about, like the firearms events. It'll take some time to go in and make a map of all the different events that happened in 2024, or to just accumulate all the different rallies and gather all the links and stuff so that all the stuff is available. This is what our Patreons provide, the time to do this. And it's priceless. Thank you very much for that. If you want to check it out. Dead Horse talked to you on Facebook 2 weeks ago. Right on, man. That's awesome. I haven't talked to Dead Horse in a while. I was wondering what the heck's going on with him. So it's good to hear. All right, so that's gun calendars. I used to post some stuff here, but I never know what to post. So I think it's easier to just kind of go over and look at it like that. Give me some feedback on that if you want. All right, so we'll get into the military interviews. I don't know. I have to watch this Ironclad because there's nothing else that's really focusing on this stuff. But I hate their editing. I just hate their editing. It's so frustrating to watch this stuff. I don't know if anybody's watched Ironclad and wants to throw in on that or not, but it's almost distracting how bad their editing is. I don't know what this style is, but they need to quit it because it sucks. But, I'm not good at editing or nothing, but I know when I see bad editing, distractingly bad. Anyway, keep going. Then you got Borderland. So Ironclad is this guy, but it's also this guy. And this guy does the border stuff, and this guy does other interviews. So this one was kind of interesting. The guy who's from the Border Patrol went through the debate and the portions of it that were about the border and tried to offer some insight. I don't know if it's worth watching or not, but it was kind of interesting. This was Eyes On, and they had one of the Secret Service friends of theirs who's a guest on the show before. They had him on for, I think, an hour. Yeah, just about an hour to talk about stuff essentially right after it happened. I am not really watching any news cycle shit when they tell me to, so I'll probably wait and watch something like this from Team House in a week or two or in a month or two when there's actually data, because speculation can go fuck itself. I don't need to be told when to sit around and speculate when we have shit like what's happening in Massachusetts right now. Man, I'm coughing now. But yeah, I'm not trying to say like anything conspiracy theory. It's just that, when we're distracted by two different things, let's deal with the one that actually has consequences. The one that makes us feel good, the one that helps us de-stress. That's nice. If we had nothing else to worry about, let's spend all the time in the world on it. But the news cycle is going to keep going, and I don't like to be told what to pay attention to. Like I say, when we know that there's stuff like what's happening in Massachusetts, I don't want to say taking advantage of it, but certainly dancing around in the shadow of it. All right, with that being said, that's about it. We got it right at an hour, which is good because I got some work I should have been doing earlier today, but I was watching Gizzards' show instead, so now I can go do that work. Let's see. Thanks everybody for participating. Who was out there? Woods was out there. Phantom, Guns and Water, and was it? No, Zippy was out there also. So we only had a couple of people watching today that were participating, but it is valued. I'm not trying to offer a speech here or some kind of a presentation as much as a conversation. And back in the day, when people would participate in the show more often, I would learn stuff that I didn't know about. So feel free to throw stuff in here. Again, this isn't a show as much as a conversation. The goal here is to focus on this stuff every week so that we don't have to forget. We don't forget about stuff because it gets overwhelming. If we tried to do this once a month, right? How would we even keep track of it all? We'd have to just hit some of the biggest points. And if we did it daily, which I would like to do, I wouldn't want to focus on the news daily because that would be too much. So when we go daily, we focus on history. We talk about the museums and the travel. We talk about gun shops. We talk about the laws. Like it'll be fun when we go daily again. But for now, this is a great chat, right about an hour. It was our first episode of season 10. So episode 1900 episodes. We're calling this the beginning of season 10. So you're all participated in the first show of season 10. And going forward, man, I would really, really like to be able to say we could go live again every day. If I had quite a few more Patreons, I could definitely do it. But we're going to try to do some sponsorships or something so that I can literally put in the time every day to do some stuff with the show. Like I said, I think there's lots of things that are worth addressing on the regular to offer an alternative to the people that only pay attention to the news cycle. They get off on reacting to what the news tells them to. And then also an alternative to the people that are trying to sell you shit constantly. I'll sell you stuff. If you want to go check out our Amazon, go for it. I'll sell you all kinds of stuff over there, but I'm not going to do it over here. Hey, there's Beaver. Welcome. KMA Beaver joining us. I'm pretty sure you guys know each other, but you're right next to each other. But yeah, I'm just wrapping it up. We'll be back tomorrow unless Tony's doing something. He just had his first diversity shoot at We Shoot, the new range that he brought on board. That was just yesterday. And then next week, he's already got another shoot or another diversity shoot coming up. So if he's available, we'll chat tomorrow for the Ask Gun questions. Tomorrow, Brooke Cheney will do her Suicide Prevention Saturday show. Again, highly encourage you to check that one out. In fact, let me go check real quick and see if she happens to have already posted it so that I could link this show to it. But I don't think I seen it last time I was looking at the... So what I do is I open it up here, and then eventually this will show up, and I click on subscriptions. And that'll show us what is coming up. This was a pretty good show. I listened to a good chunk of this one today. I didn't put it in the thing. I'll put it in there next week. I don't know what unit the guy was in, but he had some sort of an intelligence role with some of the higher end special operations units. And it sounded like a pretty interesting. So I don't see her anywhere here, but that doesn't mean I'm missing it. So we'll open that up to show more. And there's a Great Start Shooting School. Then we'll go to live, and no, nothing yet. So we won't link to it directly, but I encourage you to check it out. I'll put a link to her show in here And if you, like I say, if you're going to share something, if you're going to subscribe to something, that's the show. That's the channel to subscribe to and the show to promote. She's fighting an uphill battle, going upstream with the whole suicide prevention thing and the way that the logarithms, don't understand the negative and positive sides of her efforts there. All right, well, thank KMA again. Good to see you. Who do we see? We seen Outlaw Hatfield showed up over in Gizzards' show earlier today. So glad to see people saying hey from back in the day. I'm going to throw one more commercial up here for the store. Feel free to grab something from our Gear website store if you're interested in seeing what we do continue to happen because of, capitalism. I make money, but I got to pay off these dumbass bills. So until I can pay off all them dumbass bills, I can still use a helping hand.
Yes, a vessel approaching.
On screen.
We're being hailed.
Every weekend over at GearWebsites.com, our online store, we have free Patch Friday. And that means that every order placed on our store on Fridays is going to include at least one free patch. So that's every order with no coupons, no minimum order, no codes needed. You place the order on Friday, and when it arrives to you, it's going to have at least one free patch. Your support means a lot to us, and financial support is critical. So thanks again to the people who keep us online through purchases at GearWebsites.com.